if I were in distress, the prisoner of an evil wizard on top of a gigantic tower, and from my window I saw Shovel Knight coming in the distance, I would be torn. On the one hand, the little guy oozes confidence, and on the other, he looks a tad silly. Well, Shovel Knight doesn't care. He knows better. Shovel Knight is a Kickstarter success and the first commercial release from Yacht Club Games. From a distance, it looks like a typical 2D indie platformer, which is far from surprising given that the studio includes a handful of erstwhile WayForward developers, the people behind A Boy and His Blob and Blood Rain Betrayal. But judging Shovel Knight at a glance would be doing it a disservice. It does much more than a typical platformer, and more importantly, it does so extremely well. It tries to emulate the gameplay and visual style of a game from the original Nintendo, and it does so with aplomb. Mostly, you'll be traversing levels filled with traps, enemies, and secrets before facing a boss themed after the level. The levels are well designed, using both platform challenges and enemies to hinder your progress, but it's in the boss fights that the game really shines. Although often overwhelming at first, boss battles are all about pattern recognition and patience, knowing when to pounce, when to dodge, and how to retreat. Most of these encounters will be won by the skin of your teeth, leaving your hands shaking in excitement as you watch your rival fall to the ground. Between levels, Shovel Knight has you traveling around the world map where you can engage in side activities and go shopping. Most of your spoils are money, which can be a little unsatisfying since you'll acquire most of the upgrades just playing through the game. But skipping over the game's side content would be a mistake, since most of it is of a very high quality, even if the rewards aren't overly enticing. It just feels like the developers put the same amount of time and care into producing the game's side content as its main story. Side quests never feel like boring one-offs. They offer new boss fights, additional plot, and plenty of challenge. Nothing feels superfluous, and it pays off wonderfully. Here's the thing. Shovel Knight doesn't do anything really new, and because of that, some people will probably write it off. But in the end, what sets it apart is just how enthusiastically it does everything. It feels like a game its developers were happy to be making, and this childlike glee is contagious. You could see the titular character as an ironic joke, but really he's just happy to exist and be a part of an adventure. One that you'll be a part of too, granted you can let cynicism aside for a moment. I like to think that under his helmet, Shovel Knight is just filled with bliss and smiling all the time. Playing the game myself, I know I sure was.